So, let's see what happens. The worst kind of blooper is the one where I was doing it right. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills episode review. You know, reviewing this show hasn't always been easy. If my YouTube analytics are to be believed, not many people remember or care about this particular blast from the past. Sometimes it feels like it would just be easier if I gave it up. But then I remember that it was a curse that started me on this particular journey, so I better get it done because Nimbar knows what's going to happen to my channel if I don't. So let's see what happens when one of the Sentinels feels like calling it quits by taking a look at the 9th episode, The Quitter. On Molecula, Lechner wonders what diabolical, earth-destroying scheme they are cooking up today. Gorganis points out that there is no they in this. He has come up with another genius plan that he once again fails to really detail. Lechner has to go all psychic by figuring out that this plan involves a psychic and suggests sending Neuragula. Gorganis claims that those were his thoughts exactly and summons the brainworm thing, transporting it to Earth, where it stomps around the Night City set, firing off shots that cause some small sparks, but no real damage whatsoever. At the cafe, Laurie has arranged a charity bake sale to benefit a cause that is never mentioned on screen. We get to see how Laurie can do it all once again. Drew tried to bake brownies to bring in for the bake sale, but she ended up making refried bean balls with celery chunks. Laurie just labels them as health food brownies. Gordon picked up a souffle from Spada, but then set his books on it, flattening it. Laurie just flips it upside down, and it's an upside down cake. She instantly sells an entire platter of cupcakes, and when the other Sentinels ask her what she baked, she says that she was so busy with school and volunteering that she was really only able to bake everything at the bake sale. The other Sentinels' genuine admiration of Laurie is interrupted by their tattoos flashing, and they head through the kitchen to Nimbar's cave. In the cave, even Nimbar has caught the Laurie is amazing fever, praising her for getting the team there so quickly and unnoticed. Again, the show never really makes this distinctly clear, but you can see from moments like this, and I mean the fact that she transforms on the first pedestal, that Laurie is this team's leader, at least for the time being. Nimbar tells the team about Neuragula, making sure to mention his psychic beams, and rushes the team onto the transodiscs. You know that I'll take a moment every now and then to point out the team's transformation call, and this week I thought it was properly loud and excited. This is a quick fight scene without much worth mentioning, besides the fact that Laurie gets hit by one of those beams, and the glow suggests that something happened to her. The other Sentinels blast the monster until it teleports away. When the Sentinels get back to the cave, something is clearly different about Laurie. She's really quiet and sullen, she doesn't celebrate with the other Sentinels, and when Nimbar asks her what's wrong, she goes off, calling him an overgrown amoeba and saying that she's tired of jumping every time Nimbar calls. She also says that she's tired of the other Sentinels' company and announces that she's quitting the team. The others say that she can't quit, but Nimbar says that the choice to be a Galactic Sentinel must be completely voluntary. She also points out that it has come to pass, though your guess is as good as mine as to how she knew this would be a thing, by holding her tattoo up next to Gordon's. His flashes, hers does not. At least for the moment, she has quit the team. At Drew's house, everyone is really confused about Laurie's behavior and wonder what this means for the Galactic Sentinels. Their tattoos flash, but as they get up, Drew's aunt Nicole returns home from a short day of filming at the studio for what sounds like a soap opera. She offers to buy sushi for everyone so they can eat lunch by the pool and she can get to know Drew's friends. Drew says they can't, and Nicole asks why. Drew can't really come up with a good reason, only able to fall back on her old "these are not my friends" chestnut. She eventually talks her aunt into believing it, and after steering her away from the portal, they head out. Nimbar rushes them straight into battle, telling them Neuragula has returned. Gordon takes a few extra seconds to compliment Nimbar, like Laurie had done earlier in the episode, but this just annoys Nimbar since they have to get going. Gordon does take a moment to point out the different treatment than Laurie would get, and they transform. This is another little minor thing to point out, but I feel like doing so because I kind of realized as I was watching it might happen and I was waiting for it. The first time the Sentinels fought Neuragula, it was at night, the Nighttime City set. Since that fight, we've been to Drew's house and seen that it's daytime. Her aunt just mentioned lunch, but when the Sentinels transport back into battle, it's nighttime again. I get it, it's the Nighttime City set, they filmed all of the fight footage at once. It's just really lazy. They could have at least thrown in a line about needing to teleport to a city on the other side of the world or something. The Sentinels arrive, and there's no monster. They look around, see nothing, and head back to the cave. On Molecula, Gorganis and Lechner share a laugh because apparently this was all part of their plan. The only way I can make sense of it is that they sent out a false signal to confirm that the team really was down a Sentinel. Anyway, the Sentinels head back to the cave thinking this was a training mission. Not that we've ever actually seen them train, but Nimbar says that his sensors did detect Neuragula. The Sentinels are still worried about Laurie, and Nimbar says he's running some analyses of her situation. In the meantime, though, he tells them to find her and use the memory fader on her. In her current condition, Laurie is unpredictable, and the identities of the Sentinels must be protected at all costs due to a list of really important self-evident reasons. Back at the cafe, Laurie is... Whoa!
Hello, nurse!
So, many hero-type shows have done the good girl gone bad storyline, literally and figuratively speaking. It's a pretty common trope, and being an admirer of the darker gothic kind of look on women, I've got to say that I'm kind of a fan of these types of stories because we usually see very wholesome characters wearing outfits like that one. Laurie is wearing darker makeup, earrings, and basically a tube top with sleeves kind of thing. Yowza! Anyway, Laurie is dancing to some music that she demands be turned back up. And she bumps right into the table where the other Sentinels are standing. They say they need to talk about the Sentinels, but Laurie doesn't want to hear it. She says that she's discovered the real her. She's done with living to help others. Now she just wants to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. I just did a cutaway. It would be too quick to do another one. The team passes the memory fader around in secret, but instead of using it secretly behind her, it comes back around to Drew in front of her, and she just points it right at Laurie's head. Laurie smacks it aside, and the two of them are ready to come to blows. Their tattoos flash, and Drew tells Laurie that she's been saved by the Flash. Laurie taunts her, telling her to run and hide behind that flashing tattoo and Nimbar. Drew runs back and was seriously ready to inform Laurie just exactly what the Five Fingers said to the face before the boys stop her and remind her that answering Nimbar's call is far more important. The portal is back under the table for some reason, previous questions about it falling through, yada yada yada, and they leave, Laurie laughing the whole situation off. In the cave, Nimbar informs them that it is time for the real round 2 with Neuragula. He asks them what their plan is, and Swinton points out that that's what Laurie would have handled. Drew is done hearing about Laurie, and Gordon says they should still have a plan before going into battle. Despite just having asked them what that plan is, Nimbar gets annoyed once again and shoos them onto the transodiscs. The Sentinels arrive, not really getting anywhere fighting the monster before Neuragula encases them in a force field. As Gorganis gloats, the Sentinels try to bust out of the force field, Centaur, though not Centaur's voice for some reason, telling the boys to aim at a single spot. They don't. They very clearly don't. A moment later, the force field just breaks anyway.
That was easy.
They blast the monster, but Gorganis increases its power and it zaps their weapons away. They're so shocked by the loss of their weapons that they leap into the air and then pose when they land. They fight hand to hand for a while, but they're clearly outmatched, and with no Scorpio, there's no Knightron. So, they retreat. Yep, back to the cave. Just let that monster knock over a couple of buildings for fun. So Drew told them to come back to the cave because she says she's finally figured it out. The way to defeat Neuragula? No, she's figured out what's wrong with Laurie. Laurie started acting strangely after their first fight with Neuragula.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
It took you, what are we talking about here? The better part of a full day to figure that out? You saw her get shot. She started acting differently the moment y'all got back to the cave. Neuragula is a psychic monster that is literally a brain on legs.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
The fact that the entire team acts like this is some kind of amazing revelation is just astounding. Anyway, they piece together that Neuragula is controlling Laurie with some small part of his brain. So, to free her, they need to confuse the monster, forcing it to use that part of its brain to figure out the situation. So, instead of fighting, they'll dance. Gordon is going to dance ballroom. I think that's what Drew said. It's a little muffled to make out. Swinton will bust out some sweet rock and roll moves, and as for Drew, she's bringing the ballet. When they get back to the battle, it's Taurus doing the rock and roll moves, Centaur is indeed doing some ballet, and Apollo is doing some kind of weird breakdancing robot thing. Whatever, it works. Apparently very quickly, as Laurie had time to get snapped out of it, see her tattoo flash, portal to the cave, transform, and beam in because she just kind of shows up. With the four reunited, they quickly form Knightron in what's actually a really cool shot over a four-way intersection. This fight scene actually started out pretty good, with Neuragula just blasting Knightron's shield away and jumping around a little bit. But eventually it devolved into the same Knightron blasting at the monster until Gorganis portals it away. Returning to the cave, Laurie apologizes to everyone, but they understand that she wasn't herself. Even Drew, who she almost came to blows with. However, while she may not need to apologize to them, she apparently went on quite the spree of pissing people off, as there's a rather long list of people that she does need to apologize to. But I will never have to apologize for not reading the signs to you. Episode 9, The Quitter. Pros: Laurie gets to step out of character, losing one strengthens the three, and Laurie's new look. Cons: Nimbar playing favorites, more inconsistencies, and boring Knightron. Not quite as good as other episodes, but still with some nice surprises. The Quitter gets 3.5 signs out of 5. Once the characters in these types of shows are well enough established, it's fun to give them a reason to step outside of those characters. The Jungle Fury episode Bad to the Bone came to mind for me while watching this for pretty obvious reasons. The sweethearted good girl goes bad and adopts a darker and honestly sexier look. Heck, that's even a more direct comparison because you have the whole not caring about fighting evil thing thrown in. It's Leslie Dannon that gets the acting praise this time around, as she did a nice job pivoting to the bratty, selfish, girls just want to have fun version of Laurie. And this is really a sub-pro. I was really tempted to include it as a fourth pro, but it really fits on to this one. That whole cat fight between Drew and Laurie was incredibly believable. There was a lot of real tension there. So, what do I mean by losing one strengthens the three? Well, a lot of times with these types of episodes, we see the importance being focused on one character, diminishing the rest of the team. But in this case, the Sentinels managed to get by pretty well without Laurie. It's not easy, they kind of have to stumble their way through it, but they managed to figure things out. Drew in particular seems to step up in Laurie's absence, and how cool is it that when the female leader of this team is gone, the other female member steps up to take her place? And after that very advanced and civilized thought, I will give into more puerile interest for a moment and just, yeah, wow, Laurie's bad girl look. The makeup, the earrings, that shirt. Got a little warm, that's all I'm saying. I didn't mention this, but at the end of the episode in the cave, when Laurie is back to normal, she specifically bashes the outfit, wondering what she could have possibly been thinking. I don't know, Laurie, but you definitely need to keep thinking it. Nimbar has always favored Laurie. That's been pretty consistent throughout the show's run thus far, and is basically why she's leader of the Sentinels. And I get dialing that up in an episode that focuses on her importance. I'm only listing this as a con because it just leads to a number of moments in this episode where Nimbar treats the other Sentinels directly noticeably different than he treats Laurie, and...
That's the joke.
At the end of the episode, Nimbar has a single moment where he says the entire team did a great job. It just wasn't enough for me. Just thinking about this now during filming, but you know what I actually would have liked thinking about how they could have handled this differently? When the team returns to the cave, Nimbar praises the three Sentinels for freeing Laurie from the mind control, and then tells Laurie that she needs to be a little more careful when she fights so something like this doesn't happen again. Just a little bit of a reversal of the situation, praising the three and criticizing Laurie. Two inconsistencies that I pointed out during the review just really stood out to me. The first was the nighttime city set. Like I said, I understand shooting all of the monster battle footage at once, but just write your story to have parts of it taking place at night instead of very clearly setting the episode during the day. The other was the force field breaking despite the Sentinels not shooting it in one spot like Not Centaur was telling them to. It's just another one of those signs of laziness, and the worst part of it was how easily avoidable it was. Instead of saying, shoot it in a single spot, say, we seem to be wearing it down. Then it breaks, and that makes sense. And yes, another boring Knightron fight. And listen, I get that a lot of the MMPR Megazord fights were punch-punch-kick-finisher, but since you feel closer to these fights, like I've said before, you just really feel like you want to spend more time watching Knightron fight. I really do hope that we get some longer Knightron fight scenes. Nonetheless, this wasn't a bad little episode. Like I said, not quite as good as some of the others so far, but not offensive at all either. The next episode brings us to the end of Disc 1 of this 4-DVD set. So, let's see how the Sentinels celebrate reaching the quarter point by taking a look at the 10th episode, The Rat. Dude, Gordon ends up having his mind switched over into Swinton's mouse Darwin upon going through the power portal with it at the same time. Meanwhile, Emperor Gorganis sends Culebra to raise Earth's temperature. Guess we're gonna have to change Gordon's name to Borden, right? Get it? 'Cause Borden's cheese? Hello? Is this thing up? And that is going to do it for another Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills episode review. Heroes, thank you so much as always for watching. In the comments below, let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you thought of Laurie's bad girl outfit. While you're down there, give me a thumbs up by clicking on that thumbs up button right down below near the comments section. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel to see all of my videos, and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you are notified by that tingling feeling on the hairs on your arm, maybe a nice digital readout like you might have had in your high school's cafeteria, maybe a helicopter where the message is written on the blades, that I have posted brand new videos just like these Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills episode reviews. And if you'd like to lend any financial support to my channel, you can head over to ko-fi.com and buy me a coffee. Those are set at $3, and I greatly appreciate any of them I find at that site. Until next time, heroes, may the power portals protect you. I don't know the lines, for one thing. Hello there, heroes. Hello. Not many people remember or care about this. Wow. At the cafe, Laurie has arranged a charity bake sale to benefit a cause that is never actually mentioned. And rushes the teams on to the transit teams' teams. And when Nimbar asks, oh yeah, when the good girl gone bad storyline type of thing, both figuratively and literally. Gosh dang it. However, while she may not need to apologize to them, apparently she went on quite... And yes, another boring Knightron fight. Listen, I get... Dude! Gordon ends up having his mind transmodified into Swinton's... Yeah, I want to... Transmodified...